Alright, I'm just going to say it. Protein is overrated. Yeah, I know. That's like committing a crime in the fitness world, right? You say that online and you think I insulted their mother, not their macros. Everyone's tracking every gram, chugging shakes, eating chicken breast like it's a religion, all in the name of muscle growth and weight loss. But what if protein isn't the holy grail? What if eating more protein isn't just unnecessary, but actually makes things harder? So a little background. I used to be obsessed with protein, like really obsessed. Back in my carnivore days, some days I was eating close to 3 pounds of beef a day. And that's about 400 grams of protein, with barely any activity. And what do you think that was doing to my body? You know, I convinced myself it was optimal, that I was fueling muscle growth, healing my body, doing everything right. But reality, I was just overeating, plain and simple. I wasn't training hard, I wasn't sleeping properly, and I was basically trying to out-eat my lack of structure. Looking back, it's funny. I thought I was optimizing, turns out I was just eating a lot. And I didn't realize how backwards it was until later. I thought the more protein I ate, the more progress I'd make. Turns out, not exactly. Fast forward to now, and it's a completely different story. These days I'm following a high-carb, low-fat, plant-based approach, the rice diet. And honestly, I'm lucky if I even hit 100 grams of protein a day. Before anyone panics, yeah, I still feel fine. Recovery's good, strength's going up, there's no muscle falling off my bones. Sure, I deal with tiredness and fatigue sometimes, but that's from my hypothyroidism and thalassemia, not from protein. Some days I even think maybe I'm tired because I only hit 100 grams. And then I remember that's just the old protein paranoia talking. Years of hearing you're not eating enough protein get stuck in your head, especially when you've been in the bodybuilding mindset. Here's the truth I wish I'd learned sooner. Protein doesn't send the growth signal. Training does. Protein's the bricks, not the builder. You can eat all the steak, shakes, or tofu that you want, but if you're not training with intent, your body has no reason to build muscle. Weight training is what sends that signal. Protein just helps clean up the mess afterwards. If you're hitting the gym but not really hitting it, like, half reps, scrolling through your phone between sets, or just going through the motions, it doesn't matter how much protein you slam down. You're missing the point. You wouldn't pile bricks in your driveway and expect a house to appear, right? It's the same idea. Now here's where most people go wrong. And trust me, I used to be one of them. When I first switched off carnivore, I didn't suddenly start living on rice and potatoes. I started small, just adding fruit back in. Oranges, berries, bananas, grapes. The simple stuff. And the difference was instant. Not like some magic before and after, but I could actually feel my energy returning. Before that, my animal-based diet had me feeling sluggish, like I was walking through mud every afternoon. When I added back carbs, even just fruit, my body was like, finally, you remembered how glucose works. Suddenly, workouts didn't feel like punishment anymore. And it's funny, we call carbs the enemy, but they were literally the thing that gave me life again. And the irony, back then I thought my low energy meant I needed more protein, because that's what every fitness influencer and supplement label tells you, right? No, it turns out I just needed fruits, nature's candy, not another pound of ground beef. Let's talk numbers for a sec, because people love to complicate this. You'll hear 1 gram per pound everywhere, or even 2 grams per pound if someone's trying to sell you their magic whey powder. But the science, it doesn't exactly back that up. Once you hit a moderate intake, roughly 0.7 to 1 gram per kilo, you're already covering your needs. Beyond that, your body just converts the extra protein to energy, or let's be honest, really expensive urine. And look, I get it. The bodybuilding world built this whole culture around more, more, more. But more protein doesn't automatically mean more muscle, just more calories your body doesn't need. I used to think missing a target meant instant muscle loss. Now, I eat what I feel feels right. If I get 80 grams a day, cool. If it's 120, still cool. I don't force it. It's not about perfection. It's about consistency, training hard, eating enough, recovery. That's where progress happens, not in spreadsheets or macro trackers. Here's something nobody tells you. Too much protein can actually hurt your training. It can fill you up so much that you undereat carbs or fats, and then your energy tanks. I've lived that. I'd eat a giant meat-heavy meal and try and work out after. Big mistake. Ever tried doing squats after eating half a cow? Yeah, it's not ideal. Once I started balancing things, more carbs, less obsession, everything improved. Energy, recovery, mood, digestion. My body finally felt like it was working with me and not against me. And funny enough, I started to lose weight earlier too. When I stopped stuffing myself with unnecessary protein and focused on fueling my workouts properly, my metabolism just worked better. So now I don't stress about macros anymore. I look at the big picture instead. Am I training consistently, sleeping well, recovering properly, getting enough calories to support my activity? If the answer is yes, then I'm good. That's the stuff that actually moves the needle. Protein's part of the equation, yes, but it's not the star of the show. When I was over-focused on protein, I missed all that other stuff, the habits that actually matter. And if you've ever tried to lose weight or get lean, you know this already. You can't out-eat bad habits. And look, I'm not saying everyone should eat like me. If your goal is to be the next Ronnie Coleman, yeah, 100 grams a day probably won't cut it. But if you're after that lean, functional look like Brad Pitt in Fight Club, you don't need to drown yourself in protein shakes. Not that I'm comparing myself to Brad Pitt or anything. If I ever looked like that, then trust me, you'll be the first one to know about it. But most people just want to feel good in their body, move freely, and not be a slave to MyFitnessPal. For that kind of goal, 100 grams of protein a day is plenty. Spend less time obsessing over numbers and more time building habits that you can actually live with. Now for fat loss and weight loss in general, yeah, protein helps. It helps keep you full, helps you hang on to muscle during a calorie deficit. But again, there's balance. If you're forcing down chicken breast when you're not even hungry just to hit your macros, then that's not discipline. That's misery disguised as productivity. Sustainability is what matters. If the way you eat is like punishment, it's not going to last. You want something that feels natural, like a lifestyle, not a checklist, because long-term consistency always beats that short-term perfection. Not going to lie, I've never been in it for the biggest chest or arms. I just want to feel healthy, strong, and stay in shape without feeling like my entire life revolves around macros. So yeah, protein's important, but it's overrated. You don't need to chase ridiculous numbers or panic when you're short of a few grams. You don't need to live on shakes, protein powders, or 20 egg white omelettes. The formula's simple. Train hard, eat enough, recover well. Everything else, just noise. Once you stop overcomplicating it, fitness becomes easier, even enjoyable, and that's when it actually sticks. Alright, that's my take. Appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next one.